dear faculty members and friends. Well, by inaugurating India Corner at your library, I think that is a just great beginning for a great fortune in the future. Well, I think some faculty members got the translation of my speech to French, but I think as per the desire of His Excellency, this will be the interaction session. We will talk, discuss some issues. But before that, I just want to point out, as per my paper, that there are two things. One is individual, second is society. And how to develop these two so-called different, but in the words of Gandhiji, interdependent entities. Mahatma Gandhi, impelled by his inner voice, expressed his conviction that the world, which is run on the lines of Western civilization, could not continue for long. The starting point of his proposal for the construction of a social order is the man, who through a revolutionary transformation of self initiates a process of social reordering and helps create institutions that give rise and sustain a true civilization. The key question that occupied Gandhi during much of his life was centered around the ontological status of man and his relationship with the fellow man and the social and natural environment that sustained him. In considering these questions, he develops the concept of a true civilization that differs radically from the one underlying modern civilization. His vision of a true civilization, however, cannot be fully appreciated without looking deeply into the tensions, the dilemmas, and the paradoxes, in short, the abnormalities that characterize modern civilization. Most of the critique of modern civilization focus only some aspects of it, but Gandhi's critique of modern civilization, on the other hand, is total. Gandhi's critique of modern civilization rests primarily on three very significant positions. Gandhi believed that the driving force of modern civilization is what he calls the hunger for wealth and the greedy pursuit of worldly pleasure. Gandhi thinks that this Western or modern, so-called modern civilization is creating a man who is after money, who is greedy. He wants everything for himself, not for his fellow men or not for his society. So Gandhi says that this civilization will kill the future of the humanity. Well, if human beings, as per modern civilization, are reduced to their biological, psychological, and sociological aspects, the question of the proper conception of the self, therefore, is also the question of the self's relationship with the society. If greedy and self-centered individuals are in the society, then how can we will be able to build a society in which each and every individual is happy? Committed as Gandhi was to every individual becoming a full-blooded, fully developed member of society, his disillusionment with modern civilization was complete when it failed miserably to create conditions propitious for the flowering of individuality. The multiplication of wants and machinery contrived to supply them reduced man to mere cog in the machine. And this modern civilization is putting human being just cog in a machine. Well, as you know that for Gandhi, trust, belief in God is essential, because individual can be created or reordered if he believes in the ultimate reality of this nature, that is God. But for Gandhi, the definition of God is quite different He says, God is that indefinable something which we all feel, but which we do not know. To me, God is truth and love. This is definition. God is ethics and morality. God is fearlessness. God is the source of light and life, and yet He is above and beyond all this. God is conscious. He is even atheism of the atheist. He is a personal God to those who need His personal presence. He is embodied to those who need His touch. He is the purest essence. He simply is there to those who have faith. He is all thing to all men. Well, Gandhi said that truth is God. So what is that truth? Just remember the Dr. Martin Luther King of America. He gave new interpretation to Gandhi. He says Gandhi's truth, in English that is just. Just, it means in society we find that in economic issues, in social issues, everywhere we find injustice in the name of color, creed, race or reason. So Martin Luther King says that Gandhi's truth is just, and to establish the order of the God which is just should be established by fighting with injustice of various kinds. For Gandhi, the quest for truth must consist in serving humanity. That is the second part. For Gandhi, God is not anywhere else. God is in human being, and especially in striving or in downtrodden people, God exists. Therefore, the quest for truth must consist in serving humanity and alleviating its suffering. Service to others is only possible when man rises above self-interest and engages in action without hankering for the result. This means overcoming attachment and training one's mind so that it does not run after sense objects and joy and pleasure that flow from the gratification of one's desire. Detached, selfless action is only possible when one surrenders oneself completely to God. See, if you are selfless, you are working for the people, it means you are serving the God. And that time you should be in the detached manner. It means you are not after the results, but only welfare of the society. Well, for a good or great individual, Gandhi provides 11 vows in his small book from Ayurveda Mandir, and those 11 vows are, resolutions are, the vows of truth, non-violence or universal love, celibacy, control of palate, non-stealing, non-possession of or poverty, self-sufficiency, Swadeshi, fearlessness, removal of untouchability, bread labor, and the tolerance or equality of religions. See, what is the problem around the world today? That in the name of religion, every day we are killing thousand human beings. Gandhi says that for a good man, following his own religion is good and great. But by side, he should respect the religion of others. We should not fight. We can't fight on the basis of this, because the essence of each and every religion is the truth and welfare of all. Therefore, there is no fight in the name of religion. Well, Honorable Ambassador Sir has just said about this Swadeshi. What is that Swadeshi concept of Gandhi? Commitment to one's own country, that is Swadeshi. Locality. Gandhi says, Swadeshi is that spirit in us which motivates us to serve and use our immediate surroundings to that exclusion of the more remote. So if we take up religion to explain the point, I must restrict myself to my ancestral religion. That is the use of my immediate religious surroundings. If I find it defective, I should serve it by purging it for its defects. In the domain of politics, I should make use of the indigenous institutions and serve them by querying them of their proved defects. In that of economics, I should use only things that are produced by my immediate neighbors and serve these industries by making them efficient and complete where they might be found wanting. See, what is the problem? Each and every government of the world, especially us, third world, developing countries, we are after foreign investments. Gandhi says that in the search of the foreign investments, we just kill the soul of labor. So there should be small industries, home industries, through which the unemployment can be addressed. But there is no need for heavy industries, because heavy industries need great investment that is useless. Well, I think as I told in the library also, we are university people. I will like to share with you Gandhi's thought on university education. See, our university system is just Eurocentric or America-centric. But Gandhi gave or created one experiment in his life. What he did, in 1925, he founded one university in Gujarat, that is Gujarat Vidyapith. And the purpose of that university was to identify the socio-economic problems of society. And after identifying those problems, Gandhi started his university, and according to he designed the different courses. Because our universities should work for the upliftment of our own society. And each and every society has various or different problems. So the purpose of the university students, the purpose of the university professors is to design such courses, design such modules through which our society's socio-economic problems could be addressed. And each and every member of the university system, that is his or her moral responsibility to serve his own country and to address its own problems. I think this is not lecture of a professor. This is a session for the interaction. So I request you all, please give your comments on Gandhi or the future of this world. How can we make this world a great world in which no one is neglected, no one is deprived, no one is demarcated on the basis of color, religion, caste, creed, etc., etc. How can we make this whole world as a good and great rich family in thought and in action? Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Bonjour. Namaskar. First of all, I thank Honorable Minister of Higher Education and Research, Dr. Nabil Mohammed, the President of the University of Djibouti, Dr. Jama Mohammed Hassan, Dean of Arts Faculty, Dr. Abdul Rahman, and other guests, students, for your support for starting off an India Corner in the library of the University of Djibouti. With this gesture by the university, a new chapter of cooperation between our two countries has been opened. The India Corner would give the youth of Djibouti a glimpse of India through the selected display of books in the library. India, as we all know, is the most diverse and multi-ethnic society in the world. and it has always carried the message of peace and harmony among all the sections of the society. India has a long tradition of advocating unity of all humans and has been practicing unity in diversity based on our ancient slogan of Vasudevaya Kutumbakam, which means the world is a one big family. This phrase is a demonstration of India's firm belief in all-inclusive attitude and approach. To strengthen the understanding about India among the young generation of Djibouti, we have started this India Corner Bharat Ek Parichay, the introduction of India. It has been set up with 51 selected books in 22 Indian languages. The books displayed gives you some glimpse of India, of our diverse, vibrant, multicultural society. Highly acclaimed writers from India, including Nobel laureate Thakur Rabindranath Tagore, have written these books. These books cover a wide range of subjects and will give you an overview of the Indian languages, India's geography, landscape, philosophy, history, economy, influential leaders, social reformers, arts and craft, etc. These books have been selected after careful consideration by a highly selected panel of experts from diverse sections of our society, and this captures the essence of India with our diverse faith, philosophies, languages, what makes India a country of wisdom, joy, creativity and freedom. I hope that India Corner will further strengthen our understanding and traditional friendship between the friendly people of India and Djibouti, particularly the youth and the future generations. The embassy welcomes any suggestions or proposals on behalf of the university, including from students, regarding the strengthening of India Corner. Thank you very much. And I also say that our professor has come from India. Professor has just talked about Gandhi's wisdom, and we will listen more about Gandhi's wisdom and how Gandhi's changed the world. And there is a Gandhi Center in India where our professor is leading that center, and there are a lot of books have come from there, and I will give a set of books also from Gandhi Center, which has graciously brought by our professor from India. A set of books will also be given to the library about Mahatma Gandhi, his teachings, philosophy and his way of life, how to follow up. Thank you very much.
India is the oldest culture of the world, and through the ages, Indian thinkers, Indian philosophy, Indian mind has given a lot of thought for the humanity. And Mahatma Gandhi represents that tradition. His thought is not for only India, because as I told yesterday, the gathering, that Gandhi was a barrister, lawyer, went to South Africa. But when after 2 decades he came back to India, he was a great Saint Mahatma and great reformist who provided a lot of thought for the salvation from poverty, salvation from a lot of socio-economic problems of this third world. For Gandhi, the purpose of the university is not to follow the Eurocentric or America-centric education system. For Gandhi, we professors, students of the university, should dedicate ourselves to our society. We are not to earn money. We are not for self-development only. The universities are center as a key center for the development of their own society. We can't think about only the hierarchy of this modern civilization, because our society is getting no food, no medical health, no proper education for the fully development of the society. I just read some original text of the Gandhiji, in which Gandhiji suggested to the university students what is the role of the university students in the development of their own society. I think those words will be very useful for us. Gandhi says students must not take part in party politics. They are students, searchers, not politicians. They will study the literature about the socio-economic development of their own society. They will be users of the local products. They will not use the products of the multinational and other companies, but they will try to use their neighboring and local products. They will not think about a kind of that this fellow is untouchable on the basis of the color, creed or reason. Each and every fellow in the university system is their own brother or sister. They will make it a point to give first aid to their injured neighbors. This is our social responsibility, Gandhi says, because we are lucky. We are able to come to the higher education, university. So this is our responsibility as a teacher, as a student of the university, to serve our neighboring and our own society. They will talk, use the local language. They will not go after the foreign languages because they have to communicate with the laymen, with the ordinary people. So you should not try to impose that I am so learned, I am so good scholar, I know German, I know French, I know English. But we must stick to our own language because that language is used by our laymen or downtrodden society. And main thing, they will translate into their own mother tongues everything new they may learn. Well, in the university, we have chance to understand, to know different new subjects. But this is our duty to translate those great thoughts for the upliftment of our society into our own languages. They will lead a pure life of self-restraint, shed all fear, and be always ready to protect their weak fellow students. Well, in our university, in our classroom, there will be some students who are from weaker section. They have not proper clothing, maybe they have no money to have some tea or etc. But this is our duty as a fellow student to help them and to feel proud that they are also part of this university system. They will be and this is the last point Gandhi tells for students, that they will provide some time in their busy schedule of the study for the service of their downtrodden people or section of the society. I think this is a great role for us, for students of universities and higher education, for the upliftment of our own society. I think this is the great message which Gandhi gave to the whole humanity, that how can we, because we are part of this society and we are so lucky, so fortunate that we have chance to learn in the university system and in the other higher education system. So we must think about our own society, our own people, for their welfare and upliftment. Thank you.
Of the India Embassy, Djibouti, dear colleague from University of Djibouti, dear students, I welcome to you here with the greeting of India. Namaste. It is in fact a great day for our student institution to finally welcome you in our town, the India Corner. It is such a privilege and the honor to have the India culture and literature among our library. Our students and of course our staff, our teachers will for sure explore and benefit from these books. His Excellency, Mr. Ashok, since the opening of the India Embassy in Djibouti, we can at least experience many such quint of achievement. And we are looking forward for greater cooperation. Finally, welcome. I wish to all India happy Sankranti as well as a happy Republic Day. What I do this moment, my speech in French language. Alors, j'aimerais d'abord m'adresser aux étudiants et j'aimerais vous dire que nous allons instaurer actuellement, nous sommes en train d'instaurer une coopération avec la République d'Inde, qui est une civilisation très ancienne. Et il faut savoir que dans la vie, par la culture, par la...
जय श्री राम. हमारे नाम है असली नासिर अहमद. हमारे फैकल्टी के नाम है आर्ट एंड लैंग्वेज. यहाँ आज एम्बेसडर की प्रेजेंस हमारी ऑनर किया है, एम्बेसडर ऑफ इंडिया, और हमारी लैंग्वेज को बहुत अच्छा लगी क्योंकि वो सरप्राइजिंग है कि हम जुबूशियन हैं और बेद ना ये लैंग्वेज हाश से जानती हूँ मैं. पर एक अप्रिशिएशन होगा कि सारी जुबूशियन को एक सेम नहीं है. देयर इज़ सम जुबूशियंस वो लैंग्वेज जानती है और हमारी इंडियन अच्छे से नहीं है, पर आई विल ट्राई टू मेक इट बेटर. हमारी ये लैंग्वेज से पता क्या है टीवी से 5 साल से कर रही हूँ ये लैंग्वेज, एंड आई वांट टू डेवलप इट एंड इंशाल्लाह आई विल. थैंक यू.